Governor for Sepik.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. My supplementary is in relation to these changes to Treasury and Finance. My first question to the Prime Minister is that, is he aware that these were part of the reforms that the Marape government brought in after the 1999 financial crisis that the country went through? And as a result, the reforms that Marape brought in, both on the central bank and in splitting up these various departments, was to achieve stability. And I note also that this government has dismantled a lot of the Marape work around the independence of the central bank. And now you've done the same to the separation between Treasury and Finance. And my other question is that, did Cabinet visit the 2002 report, part of the reforms that the Marape government implemented, to understand why it had to do the things it did to restore the financial system of the country? That's my second question. My third question is a lot simpler. If the Prime Minister and the Cabinet wanted to undo the Marape reforms, the easiest thing to do would be to amalgamate Treasury and Finance, so you can sack one of your ministers and have one minister less, and you would have one minister in charge of Treasury and Finance like we did prior to 2002. And to correct the Prime Minister, that was 24 years ago and not 10 years ago. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker.
Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. I thank the Leonard Governor of Sepik for his series of questions, or 3 questions. Firstly, on his assessment that central bank's independence has been eroded or diminished, that's far from the truth. We rather entrench and augment that independence of central bank. The Treasury has no unilateral power. Neither does Prime Minister have unilateral power to impinge on the operation of central bank and direction on monetary policy of the central bank. Central bank remains totally independent. What we've done is to entrench that independence. We've set up a board of eminent Papua New Guineans to work with central bank, making sure that central bank, instead of a governor operating all and behold to themselves, a board then sits and works with the central bank governor. So there's an octagonous oversight by a body of people instead of one person reporting to him or herself. In any case, that was the way it was arranged. And Mr. Deputy Speaker, I've been around long enough to know sometimes unhealthy relations between one and one. So it's a safety is found in the council of many. Instead of having one central bank governor and one head of a government, whether through ministry or a prime minister, meeting and convergence of key monetary policy matters, we now have set up a board that the central bank governor reports to. So, far from the assertion that we eroded central bank, rather we entrenched central bank's independence. The governor now has to report to a board of credible office holders, etc., who stake up the central bank board. So that's an added layer of scrutiny this administration put on top of the good reforms that Marape has done in his term in office. On the issue on the also assertion that the structure of one minister in finance and Treasury was a good structure. Maybe then, yes. When the time Marape made late Marape made those reforms, the economy of our country was still under 17 billion kina. The workload then was lighter. 96 districts today, 21 provinces, a special autonomous government, many departments, 10 million people plus. All variables point towards an increased workload today. You cannot congest one minister stuck in many functions. The way we're structuring now, Treasury just remains as a macro policy holder. Collect revenue, work on revenue space. Finance just focus on expenditure space. Planning focus on the big planning. All of us bring projects to the planning department. Is it hitting the target in as far as MTDP 4 is concerned in this current plan term? Or is it hitting the long-range target? Governor, you were part of the Vision 2050 in 2010. You don't want somebody to be throwing in targets outside of Vision 2050. So we're just streamlining so that we're all doing things in tandem and progressively hitting the mark in as far as development is concerned. All of us have been long enough to see what happens in planning, what happens in finance and treasury. Sometimes we get caught up in not knowing who's doing what, so we're trying to clarify the roles. One fact we're doing in this reform is eliminating check printing by treasury and planning. You could run your own department checks, but major government programs, finance coordinates and goes straight to department, goes straight to districts or provinces. So that's the intention of this reform. Workload has increased. We're not in 2001. Population increase, demand increase, government agency increase, demands relook. And I want to give assurance to the country. This is not James Marape concocting this from somewhere else. The Reset 50 team, again I repeat, it's in the Reset 50 you got NRI inside. NRI has got deep memory about the country than Governor Bird, you or myself. NRI in that Reset 50. You got CIMC in that Reset 50. You got other eminent sons of our country in that Reset 50 team and daughters. They felt at 20, 25, 26, and going forward, the central government agency must be structured in this manner, KCS must be structured in this manner, and other sectors. So based on those recommendations, we are getting to work. I'm very happy to circulate to all of you the findings of Reset 50 for you all to have a read on where those 36 and recommendations has come out from. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker.